This is Billy Mitchell, Video Game Player of the Century, and it's my pleasure to have you watching Fan Favorites.
What's going on, Nation? This is the Concert Cruiser, and I am here at Free Play, Florida, talking with Video Game Player of the Century, Billy Mitchell. Billy, thank you so much for this interview. Now, what got you started on your, let's say, quest to be the best?
Well, we go all the way back to 1982. You weren't born yet. Nope. And I just had this belief or this obsession. I had gotten so good at Donkey Kong that nobody could beat me. And I started calling around the world to every publication, and nobody knew anything. And then finally I found where there was a clearinghouse that was collecting video game high scores, historical records, things like that. I got invited to Life magazine in November 1982, which is considered history's first eSport event. And it was there at that event, in front of the cameras of Life magazine, that I put up history's very first kill screen in Donkey Kong. That was it. That was the fever. That happened, and I could just never let go of the passion to want to win, be the best. But it was more than a push against another player. It was really man versus machine, and I had to outdo the machine.
Before video games, so you actually said you got your start in the world of pinball, though, right?
Absolutely got to start in the world of pinball. But it was simply competitive, like on a local level, never anything national or international. Of course, I would have been too young at the time anyway, but like many kids my age, there was a competitive nature. I played a lot of sports, and I guess I found man versus machine even more appealing than man versus man out in a sport, or a traditional sport.
What was it, though, that you think made esports take off? Like, when was the moment where this got mass media attention?
It's hard to deny the fact that competitive gaming only got so big, so big, so big. It's hard to deny the fact that it exploded because of the internet and the worldwide reach that you could create. That's absolutely it. You can play somebody on a game, you can compete with them on a game, somebody on the other side of the world that you never met, maybe you don't even know their name. There's nothing that replaces an actual individual tournament where you sit and you play and you look the other guy in the eye, and there's a certain amount of competition, even within a personality. That's on the same level as traditional sports. But again, you just can't deny the fact that it's so cool to be able to reach out and play people on a worldwide level. I guess there's an argument for both worlds.
Now, I have seen this movie that you were in, The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters, and from what I understand, this thing was not entirely truthful.
Historically, much of it is accurate. Non-historically, much of it's accurate. It's a movie. It has a director, a producer. It has many different editors. It has to have a storyline and a narrative, and it does. It has to entertain you. If you wanted something that was completely 100% pure, with nothing at all except that, maybe you could watch a National Geographic channel. But there's always the creative element. There's always the fun. Sometimes it works in your favor, and sometimes it doesn't. Whether it worked in my favor or not at different times, I embraced it because it's been an awesome journey.
Now, you're known for playing up the heel villain persona like you tend to see in professional wrestling. Was there ever a moment where you thought maybe I shouldn't have played up the character so much?
Well, the truth is that filmed at about the same time, there was King of Kong, there was Chasing Ghosts. Basically, they both started at the same point. They both followed the history that came after that. And in Chasing Ghosts, I played very, very much the good guy. And in King of Kong, I played very much the opposite. I'm sorry, it's more fun being bad than good. And it got a better response. Again, they're both great films, but that's all. And most people see the film. This many people see it. It's awesome. They either like it or hate it. They enjoy it or they don't. It's funny or it's stupid. It's intriguing or it's not. But out here on the fringe, all I can say is there's nothing I can do to help somebody. If somebody gets so wrapped up in anger or hatred because of what they see on the screen, I don't really know what to say. I have that. On this side, I get gifts. I've got marriage proposals. I mean, there's always the fringe, and it's what we laugh about.
Yeah, and speaking of some of the hate you got, because I know you can't.
See, this is what I mean. I just described both to you, and because it's more fun, you choose to embrace the bad guy, the bad side, the hatred side, because it's more fun. But that's good. Let's go.
Yeah, your scores have come under fire recently, and yes, they have. And there were all these wild accusations, and some of it's still going on today. How did you manage to fight back against all that?
Well, when it actually first happens, you go through all the normal emotions. There's a level of disbelief. Huh? There's a moment of embarrassment. There's a moment of, depression. You go through a number of feelings, and I once had a very good friend explain to me, but then eventually you get really, really, really pissed off. And this friend told me it's important to try to get to that last emotion as quickly as possible. It takes its time. But once you get there, once you gain your footing, once you know the truth, once you have that understanding and belief in yourself, it's really difficult to organize your efforts, because it's real easy to just disregard people and say, oh, go piss off. And I probably would have done that, but there were people around me, loved ones, family, who just wouldn't hear it. And collectively, what was it we had to do to show or convince the normal person, not the ones on the fringe, but the normal person, of what the real truth is? And so we began that journey. I think I first spoke of it like in the summer of 2018, what I was gonna do. Recently, somebody took that film footage of that I spoke about and what I said I was gonna do, and brought to my attention every single thing I said that day, every single thing I've delivered upon, every single one. And I thought, wow, I have. And as far as the scores go, I think I've repeated, actually I don't know, somebody counted for me. I've actually repeated the scores, a handful of scores over all those years that were questioned. I've repeated those scores 21 times in the past 2.5 years or 3 years, so I can do it again, and I will do it again. It's actually gotten a new level of fun, a new level of friendship. When I stream, I've created friends that I just can't walk away from. They've become friends now. So people say, well, how long are you gonna do this? Well, I guess I'm gonna do it off and on for a long, long time, because you've created these friendships and these relationships. You don't just close that door. That's too difficult to do. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, and what do you have to say to all your detractors out there who say that you just sue anybody who says they're fake or criticizes you?
Well, usually I ask them who, because they're on the gossip train and they're having fun. All of this stems from one incident, one and one only. That's all. It's one incident. And it's moving along just the way it should, just the way we said it would. I couldn't count on all my fingers and toes in this whole room the number of people who don't like, don't want, or don't believe. They're allowed to believe whatever they want. Go ahead. I don't mean to sound funny, but there are some people, if they didn't have me to think about, if they didn't have me to complain about or follow or cry about, they wouldn't have anything in their life.
He's actually right about that, guys. I'm sorry.
I understand that. It's not that important to me. How can it be that important to them? It's so important to some people that they attack some people that just because I know them. There's some people that will attack you simply because you're holding that microphone. Watch. Watch. Some people are gonna attack you.
I'm ready for it.
Okay? If I had a game here and I played, and you were one of the people here watching, you saw the score, okay, you talked about it, you oohed and ahed about it, yes, they would attack you. Yes, you're a liar. I can't help those people. I can't.
And just to set the record straight on one thing, the one that involved regular show, that had nothing to do with video games at all, didn't it?
Oh, no, that was an agreement I made with them. It had to do with intellectual property. They reneged on an agreement, and the court saw it their way, and so it's real easy. The system allows for you to appeal decisions, which is what I would do. But before I did that, or before I would have done that, there was an agreement made. So I don't have any regrets on that, but somehow that becomes important to people all these years later.
Go figure.
I don't mean to sound funny, but I have to stand up for, you know, that which is right and wrong, that which people, agreements that I make, you know what I mean? I never talk about it. I don't have any bitter feelings about it. I think it's fine.
Okay, one last question here.
Man, he's got a lot of one last, don't you think?
Now, when Guinness World Records reinstated your scores, and there was that great video that they released, you actually said that there are more records you do want. Can you tell us what some of those records are?
Well, what I thought was I would go back over the various scores that I've done, do them, redo them, or even beat them. As you may remember, about a year ago, I went back with the Perfect Pac-Man score, and I did Beyond Perfect Pac-Man.
Really?
I did it at Galloping Ghost Arcade, and I did it, or started it, on Guinness Day, and I stayed there till I got it. I was originally supposed to do that at the Namco Arcade in Chicago, but it was closed because of the pandemic. So then when it reopened 3 months later, I went to Namco, and I did the Beyond Perfect score again at Namco on the 25th anniversary edition. First the 20th anniversary in November, February the 25th anniversary edition. It was a lot different. It's a different joystick. It's a micro switch, much different gameplay. A 25-inch monitor instead of 19, which creates a much different visual play. It was really hard to learn or adjust or relearn how to do that the first time. Then when I went to Namco and had to do it again 3 months later, I hit it on the first shot. That sort of makes me feel good because it's kind of a growth thing. I played it. It took me a long time to learn it there at Galloping Ghost. I finally learned it, and I guess I learned it well because 3 months later I hit it on the first shot. Little inner feelings and personal growth that are hard to explain, but a sense of satisfaction here. Plus the people at Namco have been so good to me for so long. I wanted to do that, and I was right there. I hit the Beyond Perfect score right while they were celebrating Pac-Man's birthday, cake, singing, eating, drinking. That was super cool.
Billy, thank you so much for this interview. It was really, really great to finally meet you. And until next time, I'll see you guys at the con.